Welcome to the Small Business Blueprint, a podcast for local business owners who are looking to reach sustainable growth. In each episode, you'll hear directly from small business owners and leaders who have navigated the changes and setbacks that outline their unique blueprint to small business success. So join us to learn how you can turn their stories into actionable steps to transform your business into an established brand in your community.
Welcome into the Small Business Blueprint podcast. This is Alex, and we are here today with Ryan Ramming, the co-owner and co-founder of Sections Fine Meats in Costa Mesa, California. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us here today. How is everything in the meat
It's
industry here on this
it's
fine day?
it's a little crazy, but it's very entertaining and very fun. I'm glad to be in it.
Awesome. So really, I just want to dive right in with you. I mean, we were talking just before this, and we've already got a couple of topics that we can just dive right into. Um, Number one, you guys are a pandemic business. You guys opened up right around the pandemic, at the start of the pandemic. Um, what was that experience like? Tell our listeners, number one, what separated you guys that helped you get through the pandemic? But number two, where your business model comes from that you feel like really sets you guys apart.
So our whole idea starting out was that you kind of break the traditional butcher thing. So our business model was kind of all local, all pretty direct to you. And we were doing all the processing in house. And you can see it. You can come in and literally stand there and watch us cut whatever you'd like. You bring the whole animals in, you use everything, and then you make sure you try to waste very little. And the idea was from there, you get the community in, you can kind of keep this cycle going that you can bring a whole cow in every week potentially, and then get rid of it all and do some stock and make some soap. And it's a pretty amazing thing when everybody was, like you said, clamoring for meat for a while. It was
Right.
2 weeks of just nonstop. I had to hire 5 or 6 people probably just to make sure people got in and out of the door quick enough to not have a line down the block. And the 6 feet thing with the stickers on the floor, like we had the whole thing, so you can't have the shop full. And it was quite entertaining for these people who hadn't really worked in that business very long, and kind of every single person who walked in wanted 10 pounds of ground beef, and they wanted it individually packaged in 1 pound packages. And it became scramble like toilet paper. It was the same thing. Everybody, it was the greatest thing for us because the word got out. So we did a soft opening December 22nd and then closed on the 25th. And then we actually opened the shop on January 4th of 2020, which was about 2.5 months until the real news of the pandemic was out, for sure.
Right. Until things got very different after that.
Definitely.
And we're still, working our way through some of these things. Um, One of the things I do find very interesting about what you guys are currently doing is you're almost going against a trend right now, right? Um, everywhere you
Sure.
turn, everywhere you turn, there are meat delivery services popping up that will send you a package of frozen meat. What sets you all apart from that particular business model? And I know you mentioned this to me off the air, and I loved your answer, so I would love you to give this answer to the listeners as well.
So basically, our idea with opening the shop was you go back to an old school butcher shop, and a lot of the older generation who come in and like it for that exact reason. They remember back in the day going with their grandmother or their mother walking down the street, and you
Mhm.
interact with the guy behind the counter who then gets you exactly what you need, or if they don't have it, they'll get you something like it. And that personal connection between customer and business owner was kind of what we were going back to, as well as the trend of farm to table restaurants was kind
Mhm.
of what we were going for as well. You connect local farms with the people who will be eating that food. It is a difficult thing to do, especially now after the pandemic. But at first, it's not everybody ships a whole cow. And
Right.
how do you get one? Like, how does it come? Is it wrapped in a bag? Is it comes on a pallet in a box wrapped in a bag? It's kind of a thing to see. And then when it takes three guys to pick up 1/4 of this thing and hang it on a big rack, people love to see that. The fact that we don't have a freezer is the other huge difference between us and someone who ships it to your door. With a big company like Omaha, or there's a new one popping up here in Costa Mesa, you can have a huge backstock of supply in a freezer for months and months and months. And then when that's ordered, you put it in the box and you send it away. And our thing is it's fresh. There isn't a freezer, and you see the guy do it right in front of you. And like you said, it's kind of the opposite of the trend of easy, but it also comes into more of the, oh, I know exactly how fresh this is, and I know exactly where it's coming from, and I know exactly who's doing all the work because it's all
Right.
done right in front of you.
Absolutely. You know exactly what you're getting. You can see the cut as it's do you guys even like go
Oh,
back and
we
cut it fresh for people? Or I guess how
definitely,
does that process work for you guys?
yeah. So there are certain things you just need to sell too many to keep up. You can't get that many animals and keep up with the supply of chicken breasts. It's the
Right.
amount of chicken breasts we sell outnumber uh, anything I could ever sell for chicken. So I have to order boxes of those.
Right.
From there, the idea is if you bring in a cow, you can basically pull most of this off, have a you have ribeyes, you have New York's porterhouse, you kind of get this whole variety of things, but also it's the grass fed that everybody's searching for. It's very, very healthy fats is what people are looking for. And when you break it down right in front of them, it's kind of uh, striking in a good way or a bad way. If you, some people don't like seeing it, which is fine, no problem. But other people, we offer classes, and you can come in and see exactly how and what we're doing and how to do it yourself if you were searching to do so. We do sausage classes. We do a hog class where you break down here where you cut the pork chops out of. Here's where you get the bacon. Here's where you make sausage, and you kind of do it all so everybody can um, see how the sausage is made, and it's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. Yeah, it's a good
Literally.
thing. Yeah, exactly. And people just enjoy the fact that you're not hiding anything, and I think that's also a thing with those shipping people. It's not a bad business, not a bad business model. It's purely uh, kind of a customer. You're just a number. You're not someone who knows me. And people like to come in and say my name, and I won't know their name. And I'll say, "Hi, how are you?" Just because I can't find their name in my brain, but I sure wish I knew it.
Yeah.
It's the connection thing. It's very
Right.
much so a connection. Um,
Absolutely.
from
Absolutely.
there, my brother is all about the fact that you can change someone's day too. Most of the time in the service industry, you have people who are in bad moods come through, but you can also make them have a good day, which is what we kind of strive for.
Absolutely. That's what being in the service industry is all about.
Sure.
Is I mean, you do have to deal with those people that maybe aren't having the best day, and they will take it out on you, and in certain respects. But at the end of the day,
Sure.
if you have a
Yeah.
good meal or if you have a good experience at a business like what you all have to offer, it really does change somebody's day. And sometimes in more ways than one. Not only the
N-
customer interaction, but the level of the especially food can truly change somebody's day. Terrible day and have a great steak, it just makes the whole day that much better.
No doubt. And I get grumpy when I'm hungry too. So I get it, man. They
Yeah.
come into my shop, they're hungry. I totally get it. Um, it's a funny deal where you said it, the product, the food makes people happy. at the end. I really don't do much. I'm just a courier between what you want and your meal. We don't cook anything for anyone. We do sandwiches and stuff, but we don't cook steaks. I don't know how you like your steak done. I don't know how much salt you like. I don't know how much butter you like. And I don't know if you like it rare or well. I'm just not going to um, ruin your experience with me getting in the way. I know if
Right.
I sell a good product to you, that you go home and you cook it how you like it, it's going to be great. And that's what we strive for. Is just the product sells itself. I don't need to. You just go for the best I can find, and then we're set.
Absolutely. So touching on that, one of the things that also happened during the pandemic was there was a meat shortage.
Yeah.
How did you all navigate that, especially when you're trying to bring the absolute best product to your customers? How did you all navigate those meat shortages?
So we talked about it earlier, but I was extremely lucky. We, as a business, all the boys too who worked there, everybody had a job. Everybody got paid every week. The rent was paid, and that was very rare at the time. Um, we also didn't see a meat shortage until way late. We were working with
Interesting.
local farms, and yeah, so it was kind of a you hear all the news, and like IBP got hit by ransomware, and that was
Hmm.
a big hit. And we don't have any IBP products, and they're one of the biggest distributors of meat in the country. So, and maybe even the world. I don't know about that, but I know in the country IBP is maybe number one. It's definitely top three. So the fact that we didn't carry any of their products didn't affect us at all. What really affected us was their spike in prices afterwards. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, so months later, when everything's kind of up and running again, they set a price for the nation of, okay, baby back ribs cost $10, and this is general, but $10 for baby back ribs, but it should be three. And they're trying to make up for their lost time. They're trying to make up for whatever they had to pay to that ransomware guy, because they paid
Hmm.
off or girl paid off upwards of 300 million or something is what they claimed, but I have no idea.
Holy
So
cow.
yeah, I have no clue, and maybe they didn't disclose it. One of these companies didn't even disclose it, but that only hit us later with prices. And
Hmm.
right now, that's our hardest. Um, that's our biggest struggle, is the fact that prime beef has the shortage has now caught up to us. And
Interesting. Okay.
um, internationally shipping prime beef, the only thing we get out of state is the prime beef from Omaha, and Omaha is now basically supplying China, Russia, the United States, and you're way behind on everything. So the prices went way up. And
Hmm.
um, from week 2 of the pandemic, where they offered me a tenderloin for $5 a pound, it's now upwards in the 20s, $30 a pound. And you're consistently across the board, we're up 200% on all products coming in, 112 to 300%, depending on the
Interesting.
product. Yeah.
Okay.
And chicken breasts are up, but they're not that bad. It's the chicken is not hit hard, but beef is the real deal for sure. That's the one that took the biggest hit so far.
Okay.
Chicken wings, impossible to get.
I mean,
um,
that's just football season for you, though, right?
exactly. And Buffalo Wild Wings and all these places buy millions and millions of wings. And they're even doing commercials about buffalo thighs and how good their burgers are. And it's because they don't have any chicken. They can't sell you $50 for 12 chicken wings. It's like you're hurting on that end. And we just don't buy them anymore. I just don't bring them in. They're not good quality, and they're frozen. And
Hmm.
um, we come from South America, and how long have they been in the freezer? I have no idea. So it was kind of like, why even go for it? If you can find it somewhere else, go ahead. uh, it's been very, very funny, the things that used to be easy that are now hard to get.
Do you foresee that changing as someone who works in this industry on a day-to-day basis? Do you see this the shortage that we're really seeing right now? Do you see that changing anytime soon, or
I
is it?
It's tough to say because our distributor who came in March, May, July, August, September last year, every time saying, "Yeah, no problem. It's gonna level. It'll calm down soon." And the last update I got was about 6 months ago, and it said when all the containers off of LA County kind of thin out, and with shipping goes back to normal, gas prices should go back to normal, and we should see by October prices level. And that is in no way true. That has not happened yet. And
Yeah,
with the holidays coming up, with everybody needing a bunch of meat, chicken, turkey, chicken's the day to day, but turkeys are coming up. And then you have big holiday Christmas and New Year's. It'll definitely get worse before it gets better. And offshore, it's 100% still backed up. No doubt.
hmm,
It's not thinned out. So for, I would guess 6 more months at least,
okay,
maybe never. Because as a giant company like IBP or something, Tyson, if you're getting this amount of money for a product now, the only thing that'll push that down is supply and demand working. But that could be years. It literally could be years before you catch up with chicken wings. I have no idea what the backstock is. I have no idea what um, the actual price should be. But I know that each dude who goes to Buffalo Wild Wings gets 12 wings, and that's 6 chickens. So
yeah,
that's an astronomical number when you do 100 million people in one weekend. It's
right.
you can't catch up. I do not foresee it happening soon, which makes
Interesting.
me nervous. But also, people need to eat, which is keeps me alive.
And fortunately, people will continue to eat for the rest of their lives. So
That was literally the reason I got into the business. Was my grandfather told me invest in something that someone does every single day, and whether it be toilet paper, toothpaste, or food, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad starting point because
yeah.
you can get off a phone. It's not easy nowadays, but you don't have to be on Instagram.
Right, or as we're seeing today with Instagram being down,
Yeah,
you know, people can get off of
100%.
Instagram and Facebook and be perfectly fine.
It's funny you mentioned that because I didn't even know, and I'm on decent amount, so just a busy day. But there you go.
Yeah,
Um, that's funny. I didn't even know that. I
yeah, they were down
I
for
should
5
check.
out like 5, 6 hours today. It was like again,
Wow.
it has no effect on everyday
Day to
life or
day.
the
Exactly.
exactly. So,
Hey, it's so funny because we at one point when everybody ran out of toilet paper, we just pulled in toilet paper and we started selling rolls for like 50 cents, 25 cents for the one ply. And it was single, like, here you go. We got it in a giant box of 100 and we just put it out front. Paper towels, toilet paper, pasta, anything we could get our hands on in March that people needed. Sanitary wipes, the alcohol wipes, all
yeah,
the restaurants close, and all of these paper companies have hundreds of thousands of sanitary wipes, but they
yeah,
can't sell it to a grocery store. So we swooped in and bought as much as we could, and it was like we were giving away stuff, just like here, take it.
yeah,
Like for a box of 100 toilet paper for us, it was like $10, and you go, okay, here, take 10. Here you
yeah,
go. And it was just kind of a crazy time. You had mentioned earlier what was like a standout difference in those 2 weeks in my life, and you didn't necessarily frame it that way, but my life for those 2 weeks were not locked down and um, not a huge difference. I was working much harder, but I also was still at work for
mhm,
all day. And then I'd go home at the end of the day. and all these people are at home tweeting about how being at home and watching Tiger King's amazing, and by week 3 they're just insane because they don't want to be at home anymore. And
Right.
we missed out on that 100%. All of the guys, it's like you're beat at the end of the day. You don't even think about it, and you go home and crash. And for 2 weeks, we lived completely different lives than most of the world, probably 99% more.
Yeah.
Hospital workers, police officers, maybe. I don't even know. Um, I know that I rode my bike to work in the middle of the night to check on the freezers when it was full lockdown, like 10 o'clock curfew. I rode, I was worried about one of the fridges because it was acting funny, and it was pretty new. So it was like very concerning with all the meat in there and all that. And I went to go check on it, and I rode down, and I kind of stopped along the way in driveways, and I made sure no police was going to find me on the way. And I get there, I check everything, it's all good, and there's not a soul out. And we're on a busy street, and not a single car. And not the whole way there on my bike ride did I see a car, not the whole way back. And I rode down the back way home, but I rode down the center of the street on the double yellow line because there was not a
Yeah.
single person out. And I was
Yeah.
by myself out in the world. And it was a very strange feeling of, this is odd. Not seeing a car for 3 minutes where we are on the street would be very concerning usually. At that point, it was
Right.
very, very fun.
Interesting. We'll get you
Yeah.
out of here on this. One of the things I did want to ask you about, you guys do have nothing but high quality reviews everywhere you look. Yelp, Facebook, Google, everywhere you look, 5-star reviews everywhere, everywhere. Um, and when I asked you before we hopped on here, like, do you guys reach out to people? You were like, no, we don't do any of that. It's more of a mentality, and it bleeds down, pun intended, I guess. It bleeds down from the top of, who you guys are. It really, it's your entire company culture. How did you guys instill that culture, especially being a business that opens during the pandemic with all these other things you guys have going on, supply shortages, COVID, everything else you guys have going on? How have you been able to build this kind of company culture?
So, uh, my initial idea with the service industry is that it's tough, and everybody knows who works in it, that it's tough, and everybody knows who doesn't work in it. Um, you deal, like we said, with people who just have a bad day. And my mentality with that is that you need to let it roll off your back, because if you don't, you're just going to be, it lives with you, it holds on to you. And I've seen a couple bad reviews on ours, and my brother will bring it up, and it just like you can't shake it. It sticks with you.
Right.
So my mentality with the boys is that um, if someone is having a bad day, let it go. It's not your fault. They may treat you poorly, and then they may review you poorly afterwards. And that doesn't matter. The idea of our product being superior makes me know that uh, when they go home, they're going to enjoy their meal that they got from us. It doesn't matter if they're having a bad day. Um, None of the boys have been bad servers. They all know exactly what they're doing. They are fantastic with their knowledge and their abilities to do exactly what they need to get you home and fed. And that idea of knowing that we're already ready, that we're prepared, no matter how bad someone's day is, by the time they eat at home, they're going to be feeling better. And if it's a great meal, then they're going to look at us even better. It really,
Yeah.
it shines through, but it also makes your employees know that they're valued, that their feelings are taken in consideration, because I know that it's not all like, okay, they packed 4 sausages instead of 6. Someone will come back and get the other 2. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
If they did something wrong, most of the time they fess up to it and it's no problem. I have the utmost confidence in them, in their abilities. I know our product's good, and I know these people who then taste it will know and will. Uh, uh, I don't care about the reviews. I've heard a few times we have great reviews, and I go, great, that's fantastic. But there are places who say if you rate us 5 stars, you get 10% off your meal. I'll
Hmm.
never do that, ever. I don't even care. Um, if you were to review me poorly, because if I knew deep down that I had been a bad customer service person and I was not getting you what you needed, or I wrote you off and just left, I don't know. But the idea of me knowing that would be the thing. If I did something to make them mad and they went and reviewed me poorly, I would totally understand why they did that. There's no reason to, if you're doing a good job and you know you're doing a good job, if you get a bad review, you should be able to shake it off. That's just them having a bad day. And
Hmm.
with the boys going through probably the worst 2 to 3 weeks of their life working, I would assume, just nonstop, 12-hour days, um, constant uh, anxiety, just what's going on in the world. Every time someone comes in, they tell you something different.
Hmm.
The CDC says this, or the government says this, or my friend down the street said this. And you hear all of this stuff from the outside world and you don't know what's going on. You're in this little glass bubble and just serving them, and they are freaking out. So when they could kind of grab a hold of um, their self-worth, their mentality, and keep themselves positive throughout a 12-hour day, I'm happy for whatever they do. Go take 30 minutes, go have 60 cigarettes. Not really, no one smokes, but at our place, but go go have a lunch. Like, just if you can stay calm in an environment that's like that, you're a winner. You go home and you can shake someone off who treated you poorly, you're winning. Keeping that in your brain is not healthy. It's not good for you. And especially if you want to come back day after day after day, which all these guys seem to enjoy. I, one, commend them because I'm the owner and forced to do so. But they could quit at any time. The fact that they're still here really makes me happy because they enjoy coming in. And that's hard to say at any restaurant. And we're not a restaurant, but at any restaurant, I commend people who can take that type of abuse for years. And bartenders, bouncers, they all have their stories. Ours is the exact same. It's just a little bit different. They, I've had people cry, and we're like weird psychiatrists. People come in and tell us stuff, and you're like, "Why are you telling me this? I'm a butcher. I don't know anything about your life."
Right.
And like full breakdowns to like weird admittance of guilt, and you're like, "What? I'm not a barber, and I'm not a psychiatrist, but I
Right.
do enjoy that you like me that much." Um,
Right.
it's been I can tell you, no matter what happens, no matter how far we go, or uh, I was just happy to have the 2 months before, because if we didn't get going before March, we would have never opened. And the fact that we're still here, still paying rent, is an amazing feat for us. I'm just happy that it happened. So no matter how the market turns, if it's all shipped to you after this, I still think it was worth doing, no doubt.
Absolutely. Ryan Ramming, thank you so much for joining us. If you would tell us where, if anybody does want to come purchase the fine meat that you all serve, where would they be able to find you guys? And if they do want to continue to follow your story, where would they be able to do that as well?
Probably our most social media is Instagram. From there, we're in Costa Mesa, California, And we are on 17th Street, which is kind of the main shopping strip, located next to Wells Fargo. That's what we always say. But from there, like you said, you can look us up, and we're pretty much the first on the list just because of our reviews, from what I've heard, which is that makes me happy. That right there. Just because if we pop up, I'm happy. Anytime you're coming out to Newport Beach, Costa Mesa, Irvine, it's an easy drive from anywhere. Happy to see you there.
Awesome. Will do. Next time I'm in the area, I'm definitely going to make a stop by. Ryan,
No
thanks so much
doubt.
for joining us on the Small Business Blueprint podcast. We will definitely keep an eye on what you guys are doing. And yeah, next time I'm in the area, I'll definitely swing by.
Thanks for listening to the Small Business Blueprint. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow along on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. This podcast is brought to you by GoSite, an all-in-one platform that makes it easier for your customers to find, book, and pay for your services online instantly. Get started for free at GoSite.com.